Welcome everyone to this edition of the Eric Avasar Show, where I'm now going to preview Liverpool's season as a whole, see how the whole team is shaping up heading into the 2016-17 season. Now, heading into last season, things got very difficult very fast, which is why Jurgen Klopp came in and replaced the sacked Brendan Rodgers to take over as Liverpool manager. Now, one of the things that Jurgen Klopp said that really resonated with Liverpool fans was that he was going to turn doubters into believers. There was a lot of doubt over the tough times that Liverpool endured early on, but it certainly was a prophecy because Liverpool had some incredible results with Jurgen Klopp without even a full season under the helm, including a 6-1 win over Southampton, a 4-1 win over Manchester City, not to mention knocking out Manchester United, Borussia Dortmund, and Valencia in the Europa League. Now, Liverpool has proven that they can get big results in big matches, but not on a consistent basis, and not when it matters the most, as the Reds lost in the Capital One Cup final, as well as the Europa League final. Now, the loss in the Europa League final had major ramifications in the transfer market. There's no two ways about it. Liverpool could have signed better players if it could offer Champions League football, but Klopp, I would like to think, made the best of it, although certainly one position is certainly lacking left back. But let's talk about what did come in. The big buy of the summer, Sadio Mane, over 30 million quid, coming in from Southampton, already a proven Premier League goal scorer and certainly an electric playmaker with his blistering pace. He has scored 21 goals over the past 2 seasons, which is up there with the best of them. And he is also the owner of the fastest hat-trick in Premier League history. Can you believe that he scored 3 goals in under 3 minutes? It's just truly remarkable. We're hoping he can bring some of that magic. Certainly, he showed some of those flashes against Barcelona in the preseason, so very exciting there. Not to mention, Jorginho Wijnaldum kind of left fans scratching their heads. Not a really well-known name, despite scoring 11 goals in his first season in the Premier League for the now relegated Newcastle United. He was not cheap either. He came in at about 25 million, and he has high expectations. But he's positionally versatile. He can play in the center of the pitch, on the wing, and high up in the attack. And I think Klopp is going to play him in a lot of different positions. You know, I think many fans are most excited though about the goalkeeper acquisition brought in, Loris Karius, coming in from Mainz, Klopp's old club, a very, very talented young keeper who, if nothing else, is not Simon Mignolet, which is the best part, right? Because Mignolet, of course, is utter tosh. Now, perhaps the biggest reinforcements or an area of focus that had to be addressed was the center back situation. And Klopp did so, cutting what could be construed as the dead wood with Martin Skrtel leaving for Turkey. Although he was a loyal servant to the club, it was time for him to move on. He replaced him with both Joel Matip, who inexplicably came in on a free transfer from Schalke with his towering presence and great positioning. Not to mention Ragnar Klavan, the Estonian, who came in for less than 5 million, both of which have looked great in the preseason. Very exciting to see what they can do there. But perhaps the signing with the most potential and the most exciting signing of them all when you look ahead is Marko Grujic. Coming in from Red Star Belgrade, he was purchased last January and loaned back out. He looked absolutely phenomenal in the preseason, most notably that incredibly just wonderful, sublime headed finish against Barcelona. That was the icing on the cake of that nice little preseason win. He is 6'3", a towering player, and he's going to make competition for those center midfield spots just absolutely brutal when you look at who else is there. Emre Can, he had his big call up for Germany in the Euros this summer, and he is just a terrific leader. He's ready to come into his own. I think he has world-class potential. Certainly a positionally versatile ball winner who just has that fight and desire that Klopp loves from his players. We also return, of course, the captain, for now at least, Jordan Henderson, coming off the worst season of his career where he was battling a really nagging, difficult heel injury that you wonder will it haunt him for the rest of his career. The same concern can be shared for James Milner, who enters the season not fit, facing his own foot injury, and he is also on the wrong side of 30. But with Klopp knowing that Milner is unlikely to get a game in the middle of the park, he's experimented with him at left back, but with the way Alberto Moreno is playing, it could turn into a lot more than an experiment. It could turn into a week in, week out situation, which is certainly not an appealing one. So while the left back situation is a major cause for concern, probably the biggest positional worry heading into the season, right back is very much nailed down with Nathaniel Klein. In my opinion, the best fullback for England and one of the best right backs in the world. Criminally underrated. He offers so much in both attack and defense and fits in well with the pressing style. We're very excited to see how he does moving forward. Now, in the attack, Klopp also has an embarrassment of riches. Of course, we have to start off by talking about Philippe Coutinho, the two-time reigning club player of the year. He has magic in his boots. He is so talented, but is he finally ready to take that next step to become a world-class player? He's 24 years old. That's oftentimes the age that players really do come into their own and show that they're amongst the best. Of course, Steven Gerrard had that for him. And, Coutinho really has a lot to prove. He has scored a decent amount of goals, but you would look for more in the goal-scoring department, having scored 28 goals in over 140 appearances so far. But, he oftentimes loses the ball because I think he kind of lacks a little bit of trust in his teammates. But I think that's going to be different now that he's partnering with Roberto Firmino and Mane. But going back to Firmino here, he was the player that Klopp thought had the best preseason. And Firmino, I think, is the smartest player in the team. He provides a spark, great energy, creativity, and goal-scoring prowess that's good enough to often make Klopp feel compelled to start him in the false nine role. Starting him up top, having him lead the line, I think could become a familiar sight this season, although he is better suited, in my opinion, to playing in the attacking mid role. All the way up at the top, the forwards, the line where we are really counting on the goals to come in. Daniel Sturridge is incredible if he can stay fit. Notice how I said if. Some people like to say it's not a matter of if when Sturridge gets hurt, it's a matter of when, and it's just sad to say that he has missed more games than he's played for Liverpool, but his goal to games played ratio is the best. 47 goals in 82 games. Truly phenomenal numbers when you compare him to the likes of Luis Suarez and Fernando Torres. He gets it done. He can lead the line on his own, but can he stay fit? That's the major question. He picked up another lagging hip injury recently, and he's unlikely to be fit for the Premier League opener against Arsenal, but his ability to finish in the final third is up there with the best in the world. So you gotta hope that Sturridge can get it done and get that dance going. All right, now, in my opinion though, or just my gut reaction tells me that when both are fit, Klopp actually prefers Divock Origi. Now, when Sturridge was fit late last season, Klopp turned to Origi time after time up until that gruesome injury against Everton. And Origi has enjoyed a great start to life at Anfield. Certainly was a player to remember in that the Europa League semifinals against Valencia. And he played phenomenally against Dortmund, got it done in the Premier League too. When he was injured, he played so well, or didn't play so well, he trained so well, I should say, that he actually went up a shirt size. He has really bulked up. He's very good at shielding the ball, and him and Sturridge are the kind of guys who like to make those runs behind the defense, whereas Firmino likes to kind of drop back and be closer to the midfield. So I think Firmino is well suited to the 4-3-3 that Klopp's oftentimes used in the preseason, but as we have all seen, Klopp loves that 4-2-3-1 with that high press, and in that case, the top options have to be Origi and Sturridge. Now, I think it's mainly going to be a battle between the two for that one spot up top, but you cannot forget about Danny Ings. He scored 3 goals in the preseason. He works so hard. He has that fire inside that won over the Liverpool supporters so quickly, so remarkably quickly, that there's going to be a game for Danny Ings. Certainly, hopefully games, a run of play. It's hard to say though how much playing time he'll get. The same can be said for other talented players such as Adam Lallana. Lallana, you wondered if he was ever going to put it together and justify that hefty price tag that Liverpool have paid for him, but Klopp finally unlocked his best performances. The same can be said for what he did with Dejan Lovren. Lovren was just slated so hard by the Liverpool fans that he actually deleted his social media accounts. And I think those are the two guys who have benefited the most from Klopp's tutelage thus far. Other options, though, that'll be coming off the bench, I think are going to include Shea Ojo as well. Ojo, the way he runs is so fluid, it's beautiful, it's poetry in motion, and he has a better end product than you would expect from such a young player. Now, there are a number of questions heading into the season. I think one of the most important questions is, how will Mamadou Sakho's attitude affect the rest of the team? Sakho was sent home from the U.S. tour early, even though many people like to think that he's our best defender. It doesn't matter when you're not meeting Klopp's expectations. Showing up for the flight late, missing a treatment session, showing up late for team meals. It's not going to fly with the ruthless disciplinarian that Klopp can be. Don't let that smile fool you. All right? Now, other questions. How is Liverpool going to handle having an overloaded squad with no European football to offer? I think there are going to be players who are bound to be angry, pissed off, disappointed, however you want to put it. How will they handle it? How will they respond? There are guys who could very well still be sold. Lucas Leiva's transfer, of course, was blocked to Galatasaray. Liverpool have been holding out hope that they will recoup the entire transfer fee they paid for Christian Benteke, and they might have a little bit of false hope that they can recoup the full fee on Lazar Markovic, but let's be real, that's not going to happen. So, I've mentioned so many names already. We haven't even mentioned guys like Chirivella and Stewart, youngsters who are really ready to make that breakthrough, but will they got the opportunity? That is hard to say. So, the pressing system that Klopp employs also makes you ask, will playing time not even be that much of an issue if fitness becomes an issue? Because, the injury list was massive last season, and if the players aren't up to snuff this season, what's going to happen there? In terms of Liverpool prioritizing the 4-3-3 versus the 4-2-3-1, that is also going to be a very fascinating storyline, and Klopp is leaving all the options open. He won't say what he's going to do week in, week out. He needs to play his cards close to the vest. He needs to surprise his opponents. He's even said that playing two strikers up top is not out of the realm of possibility, which makes many of us dream of a strike partnership between Origi and Sturridge. Hey, why not throw Ings in there? For a short time last season before Ings got hurt, you had Sturridge and Ings, and we were calling it Stings. So I think the biggest questions are, can Liverpool's defense hold up as well? There's no question that the Reds are going to score goals. But when you have players like Dejan Lovren, Matip, Klein, yes, they're going to look good, but Alberto Moreno is a massive liability in defense. And I think it was somewhat of a questionable decision to send Flanagan out on loan, but I understand the rationale. A player coming off of such a long-term injury needs to play week in and week out, and the Reds were not ready to offer him that yet. So, many players with such bright futures at the club, I do believe that Liverpool will finish in the top four. I predict that the Reds will finish fourth. They will finish in the spot that is normally reserved for Arsenal. But at the end of the day, things are looking good for Liverpool. The sky's the limit this season. I truly believe that. I would not be shocked to see Liverpool win the league, but time will tell what happens. Certainly much intrigue at Anfield as the Anfield stand expands, so will expectations.